Tonight, families are asking for answers after a Jacksonville youth hockey team shut down just a month into its season. Those families now demanding their money back. And our investigative team has found that the head coach is still waiting to be paid.
Investigative reporter Riley Phillips has been looking into this and spoke with parents. And Riley, these parents paid thousands of dollars to send their children to live in Jacksonville.
Many of the players came from other parts of Florida or from out of state to play on the Bold City Battalion. The team was part of the U.S. Premier Hockey League, which has teams all over the country, including 5 here in Florida. Back in May, the battalion was sold to new owners, but since then, parents tell me it has been a nightmare.
You have people that will never trust the system of hockey ever again.
Chantel McHugh's 17-year-old son, Caden, has been in skates since he was 6 years old.
He's a really good kid and he handles stuff very well. It's just the way we've raised him.
Caden's dream is to play hockey in college, moving up the ranks of youth hockey leagues. That's how he got to the Bold City Battalion in Jacksonville, a junior hockey team in the U.S. Premier Hockey League operating out of the Community First Igloo. He joined the team in June. McHugh tells me they were excited at first. Caden would only be a couple hours away from their home in Orlando.
Because he's a senior in high school right now. So he'd have to do online school. He's away from home. That's comforting for us. That's only 2.5 hours.
Mimi and Steven Castaneda's 20-year-old son, Josiah, shares a similar dream. They moved their son all the way from Texas to join the battalion, hoping for a fresh start in Jacksonville.
And when we got there, it was great. It was a great program.
This was supposed to be the 3rd season for the Bold City Battalion and the first under new ownership. Chris and Rhea Reeves took over the team in May and brought in a new head coach in June. Parents say they were expected to pay $10,500 in tuition for the season, which covered training on and off the ice, hotels, meals, travel to games, team-branded clothing, and some equipment. They were also expected to pay an additional $500 a month in billet fees, which would pay for housing and meals in Jacksonville. Typically, players at this level live with a billet or host family. That's where parents say things started to take a turn.
And we were constantly sending money to him to go out and buy food, and that put a lot of strain on our family financially.
The players were told to report to Jacksonville the last week of August to begin practicing. Mimi says her son was put up at an Airbnb with several other players and no adult parents, and they were not provided food or meals despite paying the billet fees.
These kids were eating peanut butter and soy sandwiches and ramen. You can't be an athlete and live off of Costco hot dogs.
Carol Ethos says her 17-year-old son, Davian, was in a similar situation. They live in Colorado, where her son has played hockey since he was 6 years old. She tells me he was promised a billet family, but when he arrived in Jacksonville in late August, he was put up at an Airbnb instead.
At one point, they had 9 kids in a 4-bedroom Airbnb.
Parents say there were also issues with filling the team roster. McHugh tells me her son, a goalie, was taken out of the net and told to play another position during their first weekend of games.
He hasn't played in player skates since he was 6. He's 17. So he did a great job, but it doesn't mean it was the right thing to do.
Parents tell me the team played a total of 6 games out of the more than 30 on the schedule, their last one on October 5th. Around that same time, parents began receiving invoices from the owners for the rest of the tuition money and billet fees. Emails show Rhea Reeves asking for immediate payment for the billet fees, despite parents saying players were not being fed. Ethos contacted the USPHL with concerns about the billet situation in Jacksonville. A representative for the league responded to her, saying minors must be placed with a billet family, and asked the owners to make changes.
That's not what I signed my child up for, especially halfway across the country. Like, he's a high school student. He's a minor.
Mimi said the team folded a week later, October 10th, right before another weekend of games.
They were supposed to leave for a showcase in North Carolina. And at that showcase, they would have had the opportunity to be seen. And that's what's so disappointing, is that opportunity was taken from these boys.
Parents now want their tuition money back and their contracts with the team to be released, claiming the Reeves never held up their end of the terms. The wife of head coach John Belkis tells me he has not been paid in full for his work over the season, and the vendor that made the team's jersey tells us they haven't been paid either. Chris Reeves pushed back against these claims, which he called damaging. He tells me the head coach should have received all of his paychecks and all vendors will be paid according to their contracts.
Well, you don't know what my arrangement is. You don't know the terms. Every business has that, and it's their right with the vendor. And to say that, oh, he's not paying vendors, that's falsifying and damaging information.
Reeves also addressed the billet situation, saying he and his wife did not know there would not be enough host families at the start of the season.
We found out last year that 8 players stayed with the head coach, 6 players stayed with the assistant coach, 2 parents moved to Jacksonville, Florida for kids to live in there with them, and then everybody else stayed in apartments. And so when I bought the team, I had no idea the difficulties or whatever, because supposedly this team has been around for 2 years. So the assumption was made, we're all good.
I also reached out to the USPHL to find out if any action was being taken against the Reeves. A representative with the league sent me this statement, writing, quote, "The USPHL is deeply concerned about the treatment of players and families associated with the Bold City Battalion. Despite the vetting process of this ownership, the players and their families did not get what they were promised and should expect from our teams. In a matter of days, the players had to pack up their lives again and move to a new city with a new team. Castanedas tell me their son switched leagues completely, disappointed with the way the USPHL handled this situation.
I would really love to see the USPHL step in and do a better job at supporting families, players overall. I don't think that they have.
McHugh's son also went to an entirely different league. She hopes the Reeves will be held accountable and the USPHL will make changes to prevent something like this from happening again.
That makes me angry as a Florida native and Florida hockey player. That makes me really angry. It needs to be flipped. This whole market in Florida needs to be purged, expunged. It needs to be gutted and rebuilt.
The Reeves owned 3 other teams at the start of the season. A spokesperson for the USPHL confirmed they no longer own any of those teams, including the Bold City Battalion. Chris Reeves told me they're in the process of doing a financial review and final reconciliation of accounts, which should be finished within the next week. He also says he plans to take legal action against people associated with the league.